Hi everyone, it's Victor speaking, and today we are going to be talking about Pallas Athena because she went retrograde on the 14th of July. So we're going to learn about what Pallas Athena shows in your chart, what Pallas Athena retrograde might mean. It's happening in the sign of Pisces. So we're also going to be looking at a little bit what Pallas Athena in the sign of Pisces might show us. So if you like this video, press like and share it with others, ring the notification bell. You know you want it, so that you will be aware of the upcoming tutorials from me. And if you would like to have a reading with Sweaty or myself, then you will be able to see the access to my website. Sweaty joined me a month ago, and she's also ready to help you out whenever you need. So Pallas Athena, I mean, it's something which is not necessarily used so much in astrology, but I do like her. I do use her a lot in vocational readings. I tend to use the 4 major asteroids. I believe they give us an additional layer to our chart. And basically, Pallas Athena is a problem solver. So she's the warrior goddess of wisdom, and she entered the sign of Pisces on the 7th of March. And then Pallas will station on the 27th degree of Pisces, and then gonna go back to the 9th degree of Pisces. And then she is going to go direct on the 8th of November. But Pallas Athena won't leave Pisces until 14th of February 2022. So this is pretty much a year transit. Now, she only tends to spend about 3.5, 4 months in one sign. So this is definitely a long transit. And because she is all about solving problems, this is really going to tell us that we've got a lot to figure out what is actually happening in our life. So when we look at what Pallas Athena mean in the sign of Pisces, well, first of all, the warrior princess actually used that compassionate energy to win people over. She uses the imagination, the kindness, the intuition. So it's like a little bit of an intuitive warrior. That's one of the reasons why actually I put the picture behind my camera, where you can see Xena, the warrior princess, because when it comes to, that was my childhood favorite TV series. And whenever Pallas Athena does something in the sky, then always Xena comes to my mind. Let's not forget that Pallas Athena is the protector of cities. That's exactly what Xena did, right? So she was traveling, and then she saved people in need and so forth. So this Pallas Athena in the sign of Pisces, it's talking about emotional intelligence. This retrograde period telling us that something which we need to actually develop on. So emotional intelligence, emotional awareness of what is happening in our life. And it's kind of like the time when we need to stop deluding ourselves. We might have thought something being a problem in our life, but actually this time around, the retrograde period might be helping to realize that that is not our real problem whatsoever. So we need to stay aware and figure out where these issues might be coming from. And I also find it fascinating that the day after Pallas Athena, Chiron went retrograde also, which happened on the 14th of July. And then I made a separate video about that. So if you have missed it, I recommend listening to it, because I broke it down, Chiron in aspect to every single planet in your chart. So Pallas Athena in retrograde in the sign of Pisces might be telling you to watch out, to monitor your dreams, to pay attention to some of the patterns you might actually do in your life. So if you don't know much about Pallas Athena, basically she was the daughter of Zeus and Metis. Metis was actually Zeus' first wife, and she was the personification of wisdom and prudence. Now, because of an oracle, foresaw that Zeus would lose the throne to a child, Zeus swallowed Metis, being afraid of what he was told by an oracle, who foresaw that he would lose his throne to a son, actually. So therefore, he swallowed the wife, and then not knowing actually that Metis had already been pregnant. So somehow Zeus and these embedded intellectual qualities of Metis was starting developing in his body. And Athena was born with the help of Hephaestus, and she was born with helmet, armor, and shield. So, and she had to be taken out of Zeus' head because he had a tremendous headache. By the way, once she was born, Zeus fell in love with his own daughter. So she became the favorite child. So Pallas Athena could actually talk about the favorite daughter, a very strong father and the daughter karmic relationship. It is the planet of intelligence. It can indicate actually very strong headaches and migraines, especially if Pallas Athena is around angles. But it's very much about the wisdom, the unity of the masculine and the feminine power at the same time. Now, if you Google actually Pallas Athena, you will be reading probably 3 types of mythology around her. One relates to a Medusa. So actually, she was a very beautiful, there was this Medusa who was a very beautiful priestess who flirted with guys in the temple. So Pallas Athena punished her by making her ugly, and her hair became snakes. And anyone who dared looking at her became a stone after. So Pallas Athena actually could indicate also in our chart how we feel about ourselves. Do we feel ugly? Do we not feel ugly? It could represent the darker side of ourselves, a little bit of a monster within us, because there was a little bit of a jealousy of that woman because of her beauty, but she wanted to create some type of justice also. Another mythology which you can read is related to King of Athens, the son of Athena, who was born with the sperm of this Hephaestus. So actually, Pallas Athena could talk about surrogate pregnancy and fertility matters as well in our chart. And also, the third one is a little bit of a debate between Pallas Athena and Poseidon, because there was this city they wanted to save, and then both of them wanted to give something to the people there. So Athena offered an olive tree with food on it and wood so that they can have something to make fire with. And actually Poseidon offered spring forever. So, and unfortunately they chose the spring over Athena's gift, because they found that actually it includes everything, the tree, the food, the woods, and so forth. So that's how Pallas Athena became the goddess of justice. And in our natal chart, it could really talk about someone who is providing wisdom, so like a counselor. It talks about the feminine industry, so like working for Vogue in a female magazine and so forth. By the way, Pallas Athena was a woman who respected men. She just wanted the respect back from them too, and then she never wanted to follow anyone's footsteps. But she was actually the protector of heroes. She was teaching men how to fight, how to create strategies when it comes to war zone and so forth. So Pallas Athena basically is the goddess of courage and just warfare. And we can even see in her discovery chart with Jupiter conjunct Saturn in opposition to Mars. So this is very much talking about the balance she is trying to find in life, deliberating to find the truth before passing judgment and taking actions. So Pallas Athena was someone who never wanted to fight if there was no reason for it. So she wanted to use logic over swords. So she represents the strategic thinking in our chart. By the way, she was discovered on 29 degree of Virgo, and Virgo is a feminine energy, and it's a very logical, detail-orientated sign. It could actually talk about negotiation skills, even political skills also. It could actually become a lawyer. And so it's all about mental activities, really. But also because she was discovered in the sign of Virgo, it has got that virginity, that humbleness as well involved with that. Now, remember, as I mentioned, she never wanted to sleep with men. So she swore for forever virginity. So, so the keywords for Pallas Athena is, wherever your Pallas Athena is in the chart, it talks about where you can become a champion, where you can become an advocate. Pallas Athena is always fighting for a righteous cause. She always fights for independence. She's all about wisdom, a holistic view on things. Her biggest talent is spotting patterns. So, for instance, a very prominent Pallas Athena is very good for investors, because they are looking at patterns. I do believe that Pallas Athena is actually the asteroid of astrology as well, because that's exactly what we do in mundane astrology. We're spotting patterns and we look at in what ways that past event can actually relived. It could really talk about, it's a professional asteroid, so what we want to be working for. And you know, even if you think about what profession is, well, a profession is a paid occupation, especially one that involves prolonged training and formal qualification. And her symbol is like a Venus and the square on the top. So that actually looks like a grand cross. So Pallas Athena does talk about in your chart that you have to overcome some type of challenges before you enjoy what you do most. So to achieve success, Pallas Athena does talk about success in the chart. You're going to have to overcome some type of challenges. Now, Pallas Athena, as I said, it has gone retrograde in the sign of Pisces. So in Pisces, it's like having an escape plan. Creating a strategy in how to leave, for instance, certain situations behind. So imagine that, for instance, you have got drug issues or alcohol issues, then creating a plan how we can do that. It has got a very good holistic understanding over dreams. Actually, it's able to see the dream patterns. So it's kind of recommended for you at the moment to listen to your intuition, listen to your dreams. Do you see any patterns in there? And if you do so, then what's your conclusion made from that? So Pallas Athena in the sign of Pisces is struggling a little bit, even though she is spiritual, but she is overly logical. And of course, Pisces and the logic don't necessarily come together. So Pallas Athena tends to be responding to any spiritual matters with a pinch of salt. However, it doesn't mean that she doesn't believe in astrology, spirituality. It just wants to kind of find proof for it. So this could really talk about, for instance, looking at your spiritual knowledge as well, do some type of research, read books, so that you can improve about it. Pallas Athena is quite concerned with the emotional impact on free will and ego in the sign of Pisces. So is there any type of situation in your life which you want to let go of? Pisces talk about surrendering things. Typically Pisces, Pallas Athena is basically translating the psychic abilities in a practical way. So To give you an example there, you know, let's say I use tarot cards to do a reading for someone, but it's not necessarily about, you know, that overly mystified speech I'm going to be holding for you, but I'm going to be giving you practical tips and advices of how to overcome any type of challenges. So Pallas Athena retrograde in the sign of Pisces is all about leaving some of the imaginative side of yours behind and focusing on something which actually counts this time around. This could really talk about actually that, for instance, on a world scale, we're going to be revisiting some of the long-term effects of the vaccine. And I would like to put that comment out there. I haven't said now that I believe in vaccine. I don't believe in vaccine. I don't want to be reading those comments. Refrain yourself from those, because to be honest, I'm tired of that situation. I'm just reading astrological patterns. So I hope that makes sense for everyone. So Pallas Athena could be talking about focusing on medical matters this time around. Maybe actually there is going to be a revisitation in regards to hospitals and prisons, how they actually function, do they give the right service to others, and so forth. But also on a world scale, it could really talk about looking at ways of why the oil price went up, for instance, or looking at, for instance, how we can save the ocean and how we can save the environment. Because remember that Pisces is about compassionate love. It's all about, it's basically bigger than anything in our life, right? So very much about kind of like playing the savior role. Yes, Neptune talks about the oil business. So this retrograde Pallas Athena could talk about that maybe the government is trying to somehow regulate things in that department. But apart from that, also Neptune talks about religion and mystical visions from a mundane perspective. So maybe it's the revisitation of some type of churches, how they operate, they do the right things, and so forth. Or Neptune or Pisces could talk about this ideal society. So how we can actually create that ideal society. Pisces rules over unions, so it's very possible that some unions will actually pop up in front of us, like working time regulation related stuff, you know, all those type of unions who are protecting the workers, the employees, and so forth. They might actually start either retreating and then creating a plan, or actually occurring a lot more even on social media, right? Watching out for any type of myth and gossips, because of course that's also Pisces. So how to kind of skim through all these messages, what we get from the universe and what we get from the social media, what to believe, what not to believe. That could also become a topic here. Because of course, Pisces is all about illusion, deception, confusion. So maybe that's going to be a period of time when there is going to be some clarification over some of these confusion we are having. Pisces could talk about fashion, glamour, art, related matters as well. So maybe actually we're going to see a sudden change in the fashion industry or in art industry, and so on. So that's also very, very possible. Now, this was just a short video. Oh, by the way, Pisces could talk about people who are promoting new visions and dreams and ideas. So maybe actually someone important will pop up in the world. Maybe a video is going to go viral, for instance, about someone's vision and dreams and so forth. But definitely, I feel like this is an aspect where people who are cheating or bring confusion into our life, trying to kind of decepting us, will be somehow revealed and kind of investigated with this Pallas Athena retrograde. By the way, from an historical point of view, Pisces rules over socialism. So, and I'm not too sure whether that relates somehow, but yeah, anyway, I don't want to go into politics, but definitely some political revision is on the horizon with this aspect. So pretty much, I think that's all we need to know about Pallas Athena in Pisces, as well as something to do with the general meaning of Pallas Athena. So make sure you press the like, share the video, ring the notification bell, and see you very shortly with another video. Take care. Bye-bye.